What is up, everybody? I'm Haley J, and I'm here with
Sammy.
And this is our first episode. We kind of wanted to have something that people could relate to and bring up topics that people our age would actually have some interest in, and just kind of see if we're all in the same boat with the whole struggle of being in your 20s and trying to create the life that you always wanted. So, Sammy, let's talk about, we can start with your experience. What has been different from what you thought school was going to be like to where you are now, as far as all your plans, and what was different?
Well, I always remember when I was in high school that everybody told me you have to go to college and get your 4-year degree. But of course, when you go and you get your 4-year degree, you figure out you need more than that.
Mm-hmm. Now it's almost like, not to like dumb down the college degree, but it's definitely not what it used to be. It's not as
I feel like
prestigious.
They pushed it so much that it was just like, you got to get a 4-year degree, and then there was a point that everybody got it, and now it's like...
And now it's like, what's the next best thing to make you stand out, because everyone has this now, and you suddenly don't look so much different than the next guy on paper. So, I don't know, what's your plan?
Well, I would just, if I would recommend anybody, to be like, hey, if you want to go to school, go for it, but I wouldn't say you need school to do what you want to do. Sometimes, because, for example, I got a 4-year degree, but I'm not even using it. It looks good.
I know, that's the funny thing, especially like my sister, she's a lawyer, and I talked to so many of her and her friends, and I think maybe like one of the 8 people in that group actually went to school to be a lawyer. There's so many people that kind of find out this is not the path for them as they go. And I think if there's anything I've learned, like being 23, I think there's a lot more that I need to figure out. But if you want something bad enough to happen, then you have to go for it. But there's also this back and forth between, I know some people don't even believe in a plan B. They're like, if you want it bad enough, you fight for it. You don't take no for an answer. You only have one plan and you make it happen, which I 100% respect and I think is really ballsy. But then there's also a part of me that's like, well, sometimes life can throw you obstacles. So should you have a plan B? What do you think on that?
Yeah, I would definitely say have a plan B, because I don't think it's not that smart to go out and, seek to do something without any follow-up, because you always have to expect you're going to fail at something. Mm-hmm. You're going to fail multiple times.
And then it's also learning how to look at failure, because what is failure really? Is it,
right,
like not maybe ending up where you thought you would to maybe actually end up somewhere that you're supposed to be?
Yeah,
or is it like just not ever giving up?
I think it's failing. It's like, something that you didn't expect to happen, and it's kind of a downfall. But the way you kind of act upon that failure is the way how life is going to treat you, in a sense. If you just stay there and let failure take over you, then you're not going to do much. But if you kind of overcome that fear of failing and just, hey, that you're going to fail sometime, you're going to do something stupid, or you're going to do something that you regret sometime or another, you just like, what, just kind of shrug it off and be like, I'm going to go on to the next thing. That's kind of what you have to keep doing, and keep in mind that it's not, it's just not something that should let you stop you or do anything like that. And it's a mindset. I really
definitely is.
It's a mindset.
I've learned about myself a lot within this year, I feel like, and not all good things. I know I've always been a planner, and I like to be really prepared, and I get nervous for things that I think a lot of people don't get as nervous as I do for. And I would always look back and laugh and be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I went to that length to prepare. But
I feel you, but that's also a personality.
Yeah.
Because my sister is exactly the same way. She overreacts. She overstresses about everything.
Definitely overstressing.
Everything.
Yes.
And it's a personality. And to me, it's not that I don't care about anything. I just really like to chill a lot. Mm-hmm. And
well, at the end of the day, the more stressed out you get, the harder it is for you to even have a clear brain. So your mentality is probably better, because it's like you don't want to overstress, because then it's hard to like really trying to focus on one thing that you're actually doing when it's not that complicated. You just create it.
Right.
It's so much more complicated than it has to be. But I also feel like that has kind of helped me too, because I've learned to prepare, but I keep going back and forth with like bringing up failure, where it's like, I'm 23. If there's any time in my life to fail, it's kind of like okay to happen now. I'd rather fail at 23, kind of revise my plan, than to fail when I'm in my 40s or 50s, because at that point, like, might have a family to
That is
provide
very
for
true.
and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
and it is harder, yeah, because when you fail and you're older and you already have family, you're not the only one failing. You know, it's easy to be like, you know what, I can pick up myself because I failed.
Yeah.
But when you're like, I have to pick up a whole family because I failed right now and I failed my family, yeah, it is harder. So I would agree with you on that if it's a time to fail, it should be now.
And I think there's
that's
a
why
part
the
of
20s are built.
acceptance. Yeah, like, and it's so funny because everyone's like, you know what, this is normal. Like, I'm this age and I still don't know what I want to do. And I think about my sisters, like, starting their own business later in life. I think about my older sister wanting to go back to school. My sister, who's a lawyer, who didn't know she wanted to do that till 10 years into another profession. It's like, it's so normal, but it doesn't make it any less stressful when you're in that situation of being like, because it feels like everything's happening at once, where you just like have to figure out your life today. And it's like, I think the unknown is the scariest thing to me, and I didn't realize I was so scared of it. But it gives me so much anxiety because I think I'm so afraid of like failure, but that's also good in a way because it keeps me on my toes, where I'm like, can't let myself fail. And
I think everybody, if you actually did like ask people and they're sincere about it, I think everybody would be fear of the unknown. I mean, I'm not scared of not knowing what's going to happen. You know, I think everybody in their life is scared of that. Because they don't know. They don't know they're going to wake up next morning and be alive. They don't know if they're going to be able to provide what they have planned or the plans that they have. You know, so it's
then you bring me in those deeper thoughts when I'm like, when I see terrible things that happen on the news and how quickly your life can be taken away. Then I'm like, well, why am I working like 6 days a week? Like, why am I doing 3 jobs? Shouldn't I be like being more irresponsible? Shouldn't I be like with my family more and stuff? But then it's that, well, when I look back on my life, I want to be proud of the like hard work I put in. But I think like, I feel like any situation in life, you can go back and say this, that it's a balance with anything you do.
And I go again saying it, I think it is a mindset that you have to put yourself into, knowing that, you know, life isn't always going to be rainbows and, you know, roses.
And you got to be okay with that.
And you have to be okay with that. You're going to be like, you know, there's seasons of life that you have to deal with. And some of them aren't going to be that happy and joyful. Some of them are going to be pretty sad. And you're probably going to feel like you don't want to live anymore. But that's kind of like the purpose of life. I think I was talking to you about this before, just one-on-one. But I was telling you how I question sometimes why we as human beings had feelings. You know, like why should we feel? Like, why is it? But I've realized that if it wasn't for the bad feelings, you wouldn't know what the good feelings are.
You wouldn't appreciate the good things.
So it's like, I feel like sometimes we have to deal with these bad feelings. We have to deal with, you know, especially us being the millennials, where people are treating us differently and they think we don't know anything. But I think every generation has to go through that.
Yeah.
Through that time of, you know, being treated, like you don't know anything, because then when you finally realize you're 30, 40, you're like, you know what? Yeah, I needed that, because probably our heads will go all the way up too. We're like, oh no, I know everything, you know.
Yeah, I think as long, it's like I've always said, confidence is great to like feel comfortable with what you're doing and proud of like the work you're doing and stuff like that, or just like confidence as a person, regardless if it's like inside of the workplace or not, just like your swagger, like what makes you you. I think that's good, but never feel like you're so much better than another person, or that like no matter how like above you may think you are, like you're not. Like you might like have, maybe like there's some people that are like actually shitty people, and so you might have like thinking you have better morals and stuff like that. But I think it's like staying level-headed and grounded is the most attractive trait in people, especially people of success, because it's like you can always keep learning, you can always be better. Like you should never, like, reaching goals is amazing, but you want to keep like building on those goals. And you don't ever want to think you're done, you know?
And I think in life, even though a lot of reasons, I mean, there's a lot of people that do stuff for themselves, but I think the real joy and the real like happiness that you get is when you see others succeed that you helped. At least in my opinion, like I'm not even up to where I want to be, but I know when I help other people and succeed, you know, see them succeed, I'm like, I get some joy in it. Yeah. So I feel like that's kind of like the next thing when you actually achieve what you want to do. When you pass your 20s and you hit your 30s and 40s and you start achieving what you know, would think you're achieving, or achieving, like, you know, you have family and everything. Your goal after that is not really being like you seeing yourself achieve, but it's like being your kids achieve, or if you're a teacher and stuff like that.
That is the craziest concept to me, because I was just saying to my friend, you know how like obviously when you think of your parents, you think of your parents like that, you just know as who they are today since the day you were born, but like you don't think about the entire life they had before you. Like all we know right now is what we know, you know, like, does that make sense? Like the only thing that we have is our current life and what we've done up to this point. But like when we have kids, they're not going to know any of this part of our life. And this is all we know right now.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does. But I think it also comes, I mean, yeah, you're not going to know everything about your parents. But a lot of it also, like, I know for my parents, I've known a few things that they've done and everything because they've told me, and they, you know, they're like, hey, you shouldn't do this because I did it.
Yeah.
Or you shouldn't do, you know, this is what you kind of have to do. But yeah, it is a different mindset too. They learned it back in the day too. I hate to say like, oh, back in the day, now it's
back
different.
in my day.
Right. But it's different. It is very different also from the experiences that you learn from your parents.
You were talking about the millennials and like us getting a lot of crap for a lot of people I know make fun of us being the selfie generation. Yeah. And we've talked about this before with like there is a way to, and I'm speaking from personal experience, I know I'm on my phone too much. I want to be better about that type thing. But I do think it's also cool, the social media and all the like outlets we have to kind of capture life now, because I wish I could have kind of seen my parents' personality more. Like they can tell you stories, but just like even listening to us talk right now, you can kind of tell what we're like just by like hearing us talk for 2 minutes. So like I wish I could have seen more of my parents in their like natural setting as they were in my age to learn more about them at that time. So yeah, we'll have things to show our kids. I definitely
think we are in that sense blessed for that, to have technology to be able to record stuff.
All these files and clouds of information that we can like.
I mean, our kids
really
are actually going to be able to see us, how we live with pictures. I'm sure there's going to be something better in 20 years.
Can you even imagine like what technology is like? The fact that internet's only 10 years old, like not even that old at all, probably maybe a little older, and we progressed this far. We're on our 7th iPhone. Like how many iPhones do you think we're gonna see? It's not even gonna be called an iPhone anymore. But it's gonna be like
about iPhones,
XRT, like something.
I know
crazy.
This is like way off topic. But did you see the new Mac that they're having?
No.
That is literally all touch. Like there's a keyboard, but in order to have buttons now, it's like a slide touch screen that they have on the computer.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I don't know how I feel about that.
They're eliminating like buttons and everything like that. I mean, our iPhones they only have one button. Yeah. But I mean, they're eliminated completely, like except the keyboard, of course. But everything else, they have it like it's like a touch screen. Pretty much, it's like a touch screen that you have on, not in your own screen, but on the bottom where the keyboard is. There's like a little touch screen that you choose your options and stuff. And
then they're gonna like our kids one day are gonna be like, "Whoa, that's so weird! You guys had real keyboards." Like,
I mean, think about. I still talk to kids because I mean, my other job, I work with kids and stuff, and it's like I still talk to kids, and I get surprised how much these kids don't know of just maybe like 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
When I was.
Well, I didn't even realize that we're like this progressed this fast until like someone put it into perspective. Like, because I still remember like dial up and stuff like that. And like, could you imagine using dial up now? Like, we would never have to sit there and wait for internet for like 15 minutes like we used to. But that was like the normal. I'd get home from school, get on AIM, and like I am with people, and that was like what you did.
And then the pinball machine too. Mm-hmm. That was the only game that you could play because when you didn't have internet, that's how you played.
Oh my gosh! Or if like didn't the phone get messed up if someone were to call or something?
Yeah, you couldn't use your house phone.
It'll either bump you off
if
or
you
you
were
couldn't
on the
use
internet.
the phone.
You could not use it at all.
Oh my god! Can you imagine? Like now, no one even uses house phones.
That's what. Yeah.
Unless it like makes it cheaper with your bill or something like that. But like most people don't even use a house phone because constantly on your cell phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Constantly like connected.
And
it's like a good and bad thing.
I mean, I think it's always good. I think change is always difficult.
I think,
but it is a good thing. It's just I always go to moderation kind of thing. It's like it depends on how much you use everything and how much you rely on things. I mean, there's you know,
we were talking about this, and I'm happy this is being brought up now because I did want to touch on this, where I think it is really cool to be able to be, because I was telling you I like having acquaintances. Like I definitely have like my core group of friends, though, like my like best friends. But as far as just like being able to check in on people and kind of know what they're doing with their life, I still enjoy that. I don't need to be your best friend and talk every day to like take interest in your life. So I like that there is that option to like just like see someone's story or send them a quick.
You're talking about like kind of be stalking other people.
Yep, I'm a stalker.
I've always wondered though, is that now because of all the social media? Is that now like normal to stalk other people?
I think there's like always that line of like, okay, you're being obsessive to like when you like focus all your energy on figuring out what they're doing. I would say that's a little obsessive, but just like when you think about it, like you're going down the list on Snapchat, you're watching people's stories, you are like, you know fully what they did that day, and it's like us choosing to put it out there. It's like other people choosing to watch it or to care to
but
respond.
I'm talking about even also Facebook too, because I mean you see pictures been posted everything too on Facebook and stuff, and you can literally follow a person's life without even living with them.
You can know that person's like grandma who lives in Texas who just had a baby and like meet that person once. Like you can, that's why it's so like creepy, especially when you get into like the catfish territory. Like people, if you want to find out things, like you really can. You can Google someone's name and find out so many things. You can see like.
And that's when it comes down to
old
too,
pictures, like there's a lot.
Because of all this technology and stuff. Sometimes the older generation doesn't get us, but I feel like the millennials is we get to experience this pretty awesome time in history. It's
super exciting
because we get to experience a little bit more, like because we were born in early '90s, so we get to see the start of it. When it I think it started 85 or 86 when it started like computerized and everything. So by the time we were born, we had somewhat of technology. It was still getting created. And then to see how far it has gone now and just to
fast.
Also be able to experience it in the future, hopefully, if we live long enough, we get to see how it advanced for so much. That is pretty awesome too. And I feel like we're looked down upon sometimes because we rely on.
People see it as we're like just so obsessed with that's like the whole balance thing. It's like, you don't want to be. When you're like with your family or with your friends and you look around the room and everyone's on their phone, I think that's when it's a problem. Yeah. But if you are just using it in a healthy way, and like I catch myself on my phone when someone's like talking to me sometimes, I'm like, A, that's rude. I need to stop doing that. Yep. B, like when I'm in a room with people, I don't need to be glued to my phone. I need to be in the moment. So all those things, I think as long as you're aware, like if you catch yourself on your phone too much, like remove yourself. But I do think it is really cool because we do have the option to connect. Like they didn't used to have that before. We can be like, even going home for the holidays, there's so many people that I haven't seen in years now, but I've seen them on social media and we've talked over social media. So I don't feel like there'd be that weird gap of like, oh my God, I have no idea what's going on in your life. I'm like, I actually know exactly what's going on in your life. We still talk and it's cool to have that connection.
What do you think about talking about that social media too? What do you think about people who never met in person but actually just met through social media? Because there's a lot of that now.
It does happen. That
it happens quite often now.
My song that I ended up doing, I met the guy I worked with on it through social media. I think the biggest thing is be smart. Don't be dumb. If you're going to meet up with them or whatever, do it where other people are around, because people can come off very trusting over the internet, and you have to be just like be aware of your own.
But is that like normal now? Then?
I think it is, because it's like,
consider that even like even social media, like dating.
Yeah, because I mean, when you think about it, all those dating websites, like even Tinder, like the majority of it is like hookup stuff. But there are those people that are just like, hey, I'm super busy. I don't really want to like do the bar scene, and I just want to kind of see if I could connect with someone.
Because I remember when I was in high school, I think that was still weird. I remember if people talked about, oh my God, I met this person or this guy or girl online, everybody's looking at you like you're a weirdo. Mm-hmm. But I've now that I'm out of high school, I've seen it, and it's like more and more and more. And like,
I think it's weird when people will call someone their boyfriend or girlfriend without actually meeting them first. So they're like, yeah, we've been talking for a long time. This is my girlfriend. But like, no, I don't think you can really give someone that title unless you've met in person. Like, I don't care who they are online. Like, you could be very different online. Like, just like I feel like we are normal people, but like, I'll admit I put my highlights on the internet. I'm not going to post a picture I think I look bad in, like,
right.
You want to like have your best moments. So everything, and you don't like really see the true person just by looking at pictures or just, and like, unless you're Skyping, talking on, but even like, you're getting as close as you can get, but I still feel like there's nothing quite like being in person with someone.
And I also would say, I agree, but I also think it depends on the person, because I know a lot of people who probably can just talk to them on a daily basis and they'll be okay. But there's a lot of other people that need that physical to see them, because I mean, there's also emotional attachment that you get with a person.
Oh, definitely. I think that's why people get so hooked, because you can really be attached to someone just by like communication alone.
Right.
But yeah, there are all those other factors that I think have to be there to like be in a relationship with someone,
Definitely. You can't base a whole relationship via the internet or, not meeting that person. I mean, there's a point in time that you have to meet that other person who you're talking to.
And I think like social media and all that can be bad when you rely more on that than who you really are, when like you're more worried about. Yeah, well, when you're more, either you're hiding behind a keyboard, like, have you ever met a person that, like, seems like they'd be super outgoing, and then you meet them in person, and they're, like, not what you'd expect at all?
But I think yeah, I have seen that, yes.
There are people that, like, really do have
it helps them.
Obviously,
I feel
more
like it
confidence.
helps them, though, yeah.
It does, but it's also a way to hide. They can hide
Sure.
over the computer, and I think you sometimes have to push yourself to, like, be as confident as you are, and easier said than done. Like, I don't go out every single day feeling super confident, but to portray yourself as like this person online and then be so different in person, that is kind of like, I don't feel like that's healthy.
Yeah, I mean,
just to be so different online.
Right. I think it's a start though, because I know a lot of people with like social anxiety and just social wise are not that person that you can talk to because they're weird, plain out weird. But when you go and put either a mic or just a camera where they can't see other people, you can just see them.
Yeah, they don't have to really worry about rejection, I guess. Have you don't strike me as a person that would ever have social anxiety, but have you had any situations with that?
I have not, no. Like, I'm pretty outgoing in person.
What's up, Sammy? What's going on?
I can't, but I've met other people that are like that, that, on the phone or, they're fine. They're on the phone or just talking to them, even webcam, and they're fine. But when it comes to actual person, they can be so weird and so awkward, and they're just like,
it's
don't
really
even know what to say.
It's really the craziest thing. Like, I've definitely had moments where I feel a little awkward, or if there's like a room of people I don't know, I try and be the person to like break the ice now. Like before, I think I would have been more standoffish, but now I'm like, what's up, guys? Like, I'm so-and-so, especially if there's girls that like, I'll find that sometimes like girls will put up like these like bitchy walls, especially if like, not saying like I would be threatening to other girls, but if like there's a girl that walks in and like we don't know each other or something, like whatever reason, a lot of times girls would just like ignore and look the other way. And I caught that feeling from these girls the other day, and I was like, hi, how are you? And I think I threw them off to actually introduce myself, and then after that everything was fine. But it's like, I don't know, it's weird to think that social settings, like, I don't know, I think that would be horrible to have like really truly bad social anxiety, because you don't, something you don't really like think about. You're just like, I'm gonna go to this party. I still like am not the type of person to go like to a bar alone or something.
Yeah, me neither.
I can definitely like, I feel like I always need one wingman at least. Like
you need
I
a
love
friend.
meeting
you need
people,
a friend.
but
yeah,
I want a buddy with me.
Because
and for safety too.
It's for safety reason because you're a woman, so definitely for safety reasons. But yeah, I wouldn't want to go anywhere either. I mean, I've gone to places by myself, and it's not the same. Mm-hmm. It's not like I've gone to, which is a weird place to go, but I've been to a festival, technically quote unquote by myself. I was gonna meet some friends over there, never did because festivals get crazy. But yeah, so I ended up being by myself at a music festival, which I loved it because, I mean, in the end of the day, you're there for music and you're there to listen to music.
That's a place you could really like vibe out and like
which I did.
Be in your own.
But still, it was still not the same. Like I went next year. I went with my friends, and it was so much better, so much different because you can get to enjoy that with somebody else, and you're not just there by yourself. So
yeah, I don't know, because I really do like meeting people, but I almost feel like I need someone to like give me that confidence to be like, this is me and my friend, and if anything were to happen, if it's not a good scene to meet people, you still like have someone to be with and not just like be awkward in the corner or something. I always know if I'm feeling uncomfortable when I catch myself doing things with my hands. Because when I'm in a normal, like, chill situation, I'm not thinking about what my hands are doing. But if I find myself, like, twiddling with my, like, nails or something, I'm like, oh, I'm awkward. I feel weird. Yep. Or if I, like, have to keep sipping my drink, I, like, have to do something.
I've noticed that, though, when it's, like, you get awkward situations or you don't know how to act, you start fidgeting and doing different things with whatever you have.
You start noticing every little thing that you're doing.
Like, for me, and it's kind of crazy, too, I feel like, and we're just coming back to the topic that we were talking about, social media and just technology-wise, it's become, and I can admit to it, but it's become kind of like a blanket. Like that safety blanket that you have when you were like a little kid. Oh, I have to.
Oh yeah.
It's become like
go
that
to your phone.
because when I don't know anybody, like I'm in a room when I don't know anybody and I can't talk to anybody.
True.
I'm just gonna look down at my phone and I have that safety blanket that even if I'm not even looking at anything, I'm just looking straight at my home screen. It looks like you're busy doing something, and it relieves that awkwardness for some reason. It's like my safety blanket.
It definitely does. That's so true. I remember going to like parties in Jacksonville and just like always walking into groups of people that I didn't know at all. And that was all like, that was like first college stuff. Everything was new and scary to me. And I wasn't like super confident as a person. So like every time I'd walk into a new setting, I didn't like truly 100% feel like myself or like super confident or anything. And I would always be like, I gotta get a drink. I gotta have something in my hand. Like, I couldn't just, like, chill.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
I wonder what their parents used to do back in those socials. And that's when it comes back to
When they
it.
did-
Is it really that
Did
bad?
they check their beepers?
Right. Their beepers even before that, though. Like, think about it. I don't even know if there was beepers back in the 70s or 80s.
You're right. Like, what?
So it's like, what do they do? Like, did
Are
they
we
really?
just all, like, little awkward people now? Like, we have to have our phones.
I don't know. And that's when it comes down to. And that's when you kind of like understand the other generation, the older generation, and be like, hey, you guys are too attached to your phones, too attached to social media and all that. Because back in the day, they didn't have that. They're not used to that. We are kind of not used to it, but that's our safety blanket.
That's a funny thought, though. Like, I wonder how their parties really were. I want to say, like, oh, maybe in the 70s they were all, like, on drugs and it didn't matter anyways, but it's not like our generation's not on drugs now. So.
Right. And that's when a joke comes to say, you know, it's like, hey, that's why they had so many babies, because they didn't have TV back in the day, you know. It's like, what do they do for
birth
fun?
rate going down a little bit?
It is.
For underage.
For our age. Well, I think it comes down to, again, with this transition of the millennials and how we're born in I feel like a very special, different type of generation right now, where it's become.
You are right. We've had the privilege to see it happen.
Right. It's not normal to have kids get married by 18, 19, back when our parents were our age. You know, that was the norm. You graduated high school. What was the next thing you do? I don't even think college was something that you had in mind.
Yeah, my mom didn't go to college.
It was working and you had a family.
Maybe 2 years.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, of course, my parents lived in a third world country, Guatemala, but it's like my mom was married by 16.
Isn't that crazy?
She's married. I'm like, I wasn't even thinking about marriage at that age. Like,
no way. I'm still not thinking about marriage at this age. Like, and that's crazy to me too, when you see people in such different. This is like a completely. My head is like all over the place. But like, how do you feel about people dating that have like wide age gaps? I'm kind of weird where I feel like I don't want to date someone that's like too spread out, because I feel like even though it could be like 6 years, like, which is probably the most, I probably wouldn't do like even dating a guy that would be like 30. To me, I would think they're in a different place of life, and even though it's a couple years, like I'm 23, so 7 years difference is not really that much. Like my parents are 9 years different, but so much can happen in that time.
I'm a true believer, and this might be this might be weird, and I don't know, but I'm a true believer that age is really just a number. I really do think it's there. Yeah, I really do think it comes down
unless you're. But what do you think about like 23 and like 60?
Well, again,
that does happen.
Again, I know, but again,
usually
I think it's really just
some fiscal reason for that.
Yeah, I think it's just it's a mentality, personality, because you can be a 40-year-old guy who still acts like you're 20.
Yeah.
You know? I get it. It's weird.
That is
Society doesn't see that as normal. But then again, society doesn't see a lot of things that people do not normal. Mm-hmm. And that's to say that
Isn't
it's
it funny that we've created what normal is? Like, who's to say that this is like normal? It's all based on like our own human perception of what normal is.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, I get it though, but it is true, because like we were talking before too, there is seasons of life. So there is true. A 40-year-old is really going to be having a hard time to relate to a 20-year-old girl, or vice versa, right? You know what I mean? They're in different types of their seasons. They're different types of life. Yeah. 20-year-olds, like you were talking about earlier, you know, we are trying to do something with our lives. We're trying to grow and trying to go somewhere. While a 40-year-old is probably already accomplished that and already is done with that, with the search. So yeah, maybe he can give you some insight. He or she can give you some insight of it, but how much really do you have relatable or something you can talk to? So that's when it becomes weird. And, you know,
I feel like if you're at such different places, but yeah, I guess it just depends on the person, because there are definitely those people that seem like they're way younger, even way more mature than you would think they'd be for that age.
Yeah. See, and I look young.
Situational.
And I look young.
How old are you?
I'm 25. 25. Yeah. So I look young, so I get always the younger girls. But what I realized when it comes to younger girls, and it's like there's a gap too. Like, even though I'm 25 already, there's the majority of girls, I would say the majority of girls I've tried to talk to, because they're 18 or whatever, there is a different type of season that they're in. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes it's really hard to relate to them, and that's when I realized, I'm like, okay, maybe I shouldn't date that young.
Yeah, maybe she's not like in this place. But then you could find another chick that could completely be on the same page.
Yeah, and then there's another chick that maybe can be my age or even a little bit younger, 22 or 23, you know, and we're still not in the same page.
Would you date older?
I don't know. I always wonder that question.
It's really weird how it's like okay for the other, but then it's like she's a cougar.
But the thing
if
is,
it's opposite.
Yeah, but again, it comes to personality wise. My personality, I feel like, at least personally, that it wouldn't fit with an older person. I feel like if an older person,
because you are like young at heart, anyways.
Right, I already feel young, and I don't feel like I'm 25. I feel
but
like
25 still is young too.
Right,
though.
right. I'm not.
But
saying
even when I
old,
think about like we have a 2-year difference, but I see myself in a completely like different spot at 25. Like in 2 years, I kind of like want to be in California. You know, like so many things could change. So it's like that's only 2 years, but really like I've changed so much in this year alone.
Right.
Like I feel like I've like I even eat fruit now. I don't even like fruit. But
your taste buds do
my
change.
taste buds have totally it's so crazy. Like I 100% eat so many more things that I hated before. So it's kind of actually funny to notice them really change. But aside from like that stuff, like just the way my mentality is, like learning about who I am as a person, learning the stuff I like and don't like, I feel like I've like learned so much, and it's been a year.
Right. And I also feel like the reason why a lot of times the older person is the guy is because I truly believe, and I've seen it, that girls and women mature faster than guys. I really have seen it. I think it's just something nature has done. That's why the majority of marriages end up being the guys being older. Not saying that it's not impossible, because my uncle is younger than my aunt, and they got married. But the majority of the time, I feel like the guy ends up being, the older, because they take longer to mature. So imagine, for me, 25, I probably am in the same mentality as a 20-year-old girl. I don't know, but that's how it goes.
That's so funny. There's actual like scientific studies on like there's some age that I forget what it is, but like that they don't technically mature. Is that just like the brain doesn't finish developing until that age? I
don't know. I just know that from what I have experienced is that guys tend to take longer to mature than girls do.
Yeah.
I've experienced it myself, and I've seen in others that I had a hard time. Like I said, back in 16, when I was 16 years old, I wasn't thinking about what I'm thinking now. Even like I would say even a year ago, I wasn't thinking what I'm thinking now. So it's taken me a long time that I've seen other girls actually do that. My sister, for example, she's 23, and she's already has a career. She already is a nurse. She's already working. She's trying to advance her career. And you see me here still trying to start a career.
Was back to our initial conversation of this. I feel like that's been the scariest thing for me, because I always remember used to say used to think like I'm so lucky that I know. Ay caramba, what's happening? I'm so lucky to know what I want to do, because there's so many people in life that don't. So like I'm a lucky one because I know. And now I'm at this point where I'm like, because I always thought I wanted to be like a singer. I was like, that's it. I love singing, and I still do, and I still enjoy making music. But one day it clicked to me that like that is not my like sole passion. Like I thought I wanted to be famous so bad, and I still associate being well known as a little bit as a sign of success. Not always though. There's obviously people that are famous for not so great reasons. But
I mean, yeah, there's a majority of people who want to be famous and want to do that. I feel like I wanted to do that deep down inside too when I was younger, because I loved music and I enjoyed it. Like
the Egan would always say, he's like, we all want to be famous. Why would we be working in this industry? But the level of what I used to want is definitely
changed.
When
you start to realize, you're like, hey, maybe I can be famous, but I can do something about it that I can enjoy.
Yeah, but I don't even want, I used to think I wanted top level fame. I was like, I wanted to be a singer, travel, and all that stuff, and I'm like, I want to still be on camera and do all those things, but living that life, it's not you see a lot of celebrities that are really actually sad. That's so much pressure. Can you imagine going to the grocery store and you see some of the outfits I wear to the grocery store? I'm not trying to talk to anyone or be photographed for that matter. So it's can you imagine just walking into a grocery store, you're wearing a baseball cap and some baggy sweatpants or something, and then you see yourself on the newspaper the next day. It's addicted to drugs. Look at how bad she looks. It's nah, I just didn't put on makeup. That doesn't mean I'm on drugs,
Yeah, I mean, definitely. That's why you see all these celebrities go crazy because of that. I mean,
that's got to be a lot. And then going through personal
I feel bad. I have to admit, I feel bad for like Justin Bieber and stuff like that.
I do too.
Because I
definitely
get it.
do.
That guy has been under a microscope since he was like,
he's
what,
never
10?
known any younger than that. He started at like 7, I think.
Yeah.
Like he's never. I've always felt bad for him. Has he made the best choices? No. Has anyone growing up made perfect choices?
Especially when
No.
when you're given everything. Because I mean,
Yeah.
at such a young age, you're giving money, you're giving
Such
everything
a
that you
platform,
want.
like anything he would do, like people would attack him for. Like I completely understand where he's coming
And
from.
I definitely agree.
And to like get as dramatic as they did, like go back to Canada, like
Right.
you don't even know him. You know what you've read about him and maybe some stupid decisions. That doesn't mean that's who he is as a person. And to say something that awful to him, like I don't care how successful you are, like that would hurt anyone.
But again, I think it comes down with so much social media that we have now that it's just so much easier to follow people. We were talking earlier, even if you're just a nobody, anybody can follow. You follow people that, you know, your friends, family, whatever, but you can know about them even without even actually talking to them.
And knowing people that like you'll probably never even meet.
Right.
But like I definitely have relationships with people over like Instagram and stuff that probably won't ever meet in person.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. So imagine having that open door to your life and then adding that you're famous and that you're, you know, that you're a big person that like millions and thousands of people want to know. Of course, everybody's going to watch you for every single thing you do. And yeah, I feel like nowadays it's even more difficult. And maybe that's why your mentality changed too, of you wanted to be famous, because now everybody that's famous, everybody can see everything you do. You're pretty much in a glass house and nobody can tell you otherwise. And you're always going to be judged from the morning you wake up.
No matter
the day
what you decide, someone somewhere is going to have a problem with it and feel the need to like lash out over social media. And like I have never been one of those people to comment disgusting things over social media. I just like, I think it's like, why would you do that? I don't understand it at all. So when it's amazing the amount of negativity you can find online, because I feel like, yeah, you meet people that are obviously not the best people sometimes, but I feel like I don't even know people that would do that. So the fact that you can find so much of it out there, it's like I don't know a single person. None of my friends would leave a comment like this on someone. Like what do you gain out of being like, oh my God, you look so ugly, you're so fat? Like, what does that do for you?
Well, the thing is I think it's always been there. I think the thing with social media now in our generation is just we can see it, we can experience it because it allows you to do that. It's a form of, you know, people, like you can post anything on Facebook. You can do anything on Facebook, so people can see it. I think it's always happened. It's just now we live in an era where you can actually express that, and people actually see that too. So it's I think it's always been there. It's just now with all the social media,
there.
It's just out there, and it's something, you know. You were asking why somebody would do that. I mean, people, you can never judge people. You know, I heard this thing saying, "Hurt people hurt people." So a hurt person,
because you can't be a happy person when you're coming. If you're the place you're coming from must be miserable.
So think about it. If you're a hurt and if you're a hurt person and you're negative, what are you gonna do on social media? You know what I mean? You're gonna spread that.
It said hurt people.
Yeah, hurt people.
Makes sense. Yeah.
You know, so it's
and then I think that's what you have to keep in mind when you get negative comments like that. But I don't think it. I think you can start to get thicker skin as you go, and the more you're known, the more, unfortunately, negativity will come with that too. But I don't think it ever, like, you never become a brick wall where things just don't affect you. At least I don't think I would. I mean, at some point.
Yeah, I think you might become numb to certain things.
Yeah, you can, like, you see it, learn to laugh about it. But
but I think you still get some type of hurt, some type of feeling that. Because
at the end of the day, and especially if they point out on something you're already insecure about, then you're like, oh my God, someone else sees that insecurity, and it's just like, there's so much to keep up with. But then it's like, I go back and forth where it's like, oh, I wish I could change this and that about myself. And then I see people that are disabled and I'm like, I'm an asshole. What am I complaining about? Like, it could be so much worse.
I think it's just as human beings, and I think it's a good and bad, but we are born with always wanting to be better, always wanting to get somewhere, at least the majority of us, you know, and I feel like we're always going to be, not always, but we never like what we have.
Always want what we
can't have. We always want what we can't have, exactly. So it's like, even if you are the most attractive person in the world, you're going to think something that is wrong with you. You know, whether it be how you look or your personality or
that
something.
Has something you don't have, or even if it's just like new, it's like a shiny new toy. You're like, I could be better if I had this in my life. And I think that's how people like determine their happiness based on the materialistic things they have because they feel like they need that new outfit or like, and I do the same thing. Like, and obviously like your look and all of that builds your confidence. So if you have something that you really want, whether it's a pair of shoes, like it's going to reflect in the way you feel about yourself. So it makes sense, but it is kind of crazy. Like the pressure of looks these days and how much is focused on it.
Again, I think it goes back to the exposure that we have, that our generation literally has. I mean, it's like you were talking about earlier. It's great because we'll be able to expose this to our kids and to the younger generation, but it's bad in the sense that if you expose too much, people are going to see that, and you know, and it's like there's no way of hiding it.
It's out there. It's out there.
Right.
And it's like our idols too have changed. Like I, for a second, won't even act like I don't watch the Kardashians. I know I keep up with them, but like those are the young girls' idols these days. So like the way Kylie and Kim dress and everything, like that's how like we get fashion influence from them. And it's like,
but you know why the only reason that people look up to them is, right?
Their looks.
No, it's not even the look, because there's beautiful women everywhere. I've noticed that. There's beautiful girls everywhere. It's more of just the platform that they have. It really
and they're
is.
Definitely confident. I think that speaks a lot.
They might act confident, but they might not really be in it too. So I think it's just the platform. It really is like if you put somebody in a pedestal, I mean, how are you not supposed to see them? You know, they're up high. You can't miss them.
Isn't the whole idea of fame is so crazy to me? It's like you are just a person.
Yep.
And they're just a person. But for some reason, the fact that a lot of people know them makes them seem like not a real person. They seem like an icon or like so untouchable, or like you like lose your sense of like talking normal around them if you have like nervous around like
right.
Like even Iggy Azalea when she came, it's like I feel like we work in this industry where we're kind of in a situation where we get to meet like cool people, so you don't get as nervous. Like I wasn't really nervous meeting her, but like I could tell like my sister was a little nervous, and like just seeing my sister act a little bit different, it's like it's just interesting seeing how a person couldn't affect you like that. Or, like why are you so different?
Because
you know
they're putting a platform. Really, they're really putting a platform that
they're like
subconsciously we just look up to them. We're like, oh my god, I wish I was like that.
Know
or I wish,
you, so you are amazing.
Like, you're a big deal.
You're a big deal.
You know, it's like everybody in the world knows you, and I'm now meeting you, and that's why it comes out like, oh my god, we have to act differently because of that. But in reality, I'm sure like their friends before they even were famous, you know, they're like, hey, it's just another person.
Yeah, I mean, I would be mad if my friends treated me. If I were to become famous, like I would hate it if the people that actually knew me well started treating me different, because that would suck to me. If you like your real relationships start feeling fake, then I'm like, I'm not like that.
Yeah.
And then it's cool too to like think that way, because like if you do meet famous people, you like how would you want to be treated if you were in their shoes? Like don't act like a crazy person. And that's with Justin Bieber like wanting to cancel his like shoots and having fans meet and greet. Like I get it. How is that fun for you if people don't even talk to you? They just want the picture just to say they did it. And well, yeah, I mean, it's the point of a meet and greet. You want like the memory of it, but it's like when you're clearly more worried about telling people you met him than like taking in that experience.
Yeah, I think there was a show.
Why it's frustrating for him.
I think there was a show that he actually kind of stepped out of the stage and came back, but he was trying to talk to the crowd. And he's like, "Hey, guys, be quiet!" And everybody was screaming,
and that's just like disrespectful. He's trying to like do his thing.
He was just trying to give him a little speech, a little talk.
Yeah.
You know, who knows what he wanted to say? Probably something good, but you know, it's and I think it also comes with generation, though. I mean, think about it. When you were a 12, 13-year-old crazy girl, you weren't interested what the artist had to say. You were just interested in meeting them and saying, "Oh my god, I hugged them."
The excitement of it all.
Right.
So that's true.
That's his type of fan base. He can't be talking like that to a set of 13-year-old girls. Hey, I want to talk to you about your president right now, or I want to talk to you about the future. They don't care.
They're like, "You're so hot! Oh my god, take your shirt off!" Yeah.
Exactly. So it comes with also generations and stuff like that. But
that's true. How long have we been going for?
I don't know.
Should we wrap it?
Let's wrap it. Because it's been like 15 minutes now.
Oh, wow.
Like 15, 20 minutes. It's been a while.
No, it's been more than 15 because my alarm went off at 5. It's 5:18, so it's been at least 40 minutes.
Go ahead. Let's see how long we did it.
Okay, well, let's do a little close off.
Outro.
Basically, we should be back within a few weeks, and we have undecided topics, but this is kind of the pattern that I think we're going to keep.
Yeah,
just like,
it's going to be pretty much a millennial
yeah.
type of view, and just kind of seeing how we view the world right now, and how
and if anyone out there wants to add input and come on and
of course
join the conversation.
Yeah, for sure. We're open for that. It's just like I said, it's just a open forum in a sense to be able to express our millennial views and how we see the world. And if other people older want to see, hey, how they see millennials, go for it. I mean,
that'd be interesting to actually get someone a little bit older too, and kind of compare our experiences. That could be cool. Yeah,
definitely. But yeah, it's just like that. It's a millennial type of forum and podcast kind of thing, I guess you can call it.
All right. Well, once again, I'm Haley J.
And I am Sammy.
We will see you next time.
Peace out.